بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على عبده ورسوله نبينا وإمامنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. The next narration, seventh hadith of the chapter of fasting and the subchapter of al-i'tikaf wa qiyam Ramadan. Al-Hafidh ibn Hajar, the author, rahimahullah, says, وعن ابن عباس رضي الله عنهما أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال ليس على المعتكف صيام إلا أن يجعله على نفسه رواه الدارقطني والحاكم والراجح وقفه أيضا. Says here, Ibn Abbas رضي الله عنهما narrated the Messenger of Allah عليه الصلاة والسلام saying, fasting is not upon the one who performs the i'tikaf unless he places it upon himself. Unless he places it upon himself. Fasting is not upon the one who's making the i'tikaf unless he makes it upon himself. Unless he makes it upon himself. This hadith here, the author says, has been collected by the following scholars of hadith: ad-Daraqutni and al-Hakim, scholars of hadith who had books just like Bukhari and Muslim had books of different levels of authenticity. They came later on, but they're compilers of hadith. Tirmidhi, Daraqutni, Malik, Abu Dawood, etc. With regards to the disciples of hadith, the fa'idah, he says, وَالرَّاجِحُ وَقْفُهُ أَيْضًا. He says in this riwayah marfu'ah, there's a khata. وَالرَّاجِحُ وَقْفُهُ عن ابن عباس. يعني لم يصح كونه من كلام النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم منسوبا إلى النبي، وإنما هو من كلام ابن عباس. أخطأ فيه أحد الرواه فنسبه إلى النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم وهما وخطأ، وإنما هو من قول ابن عباس رضي الله تعالى عنهما ورضاه. طيب. So he says that the strongest version of this hadith is that it's not the Prophet's words, but it's Ibn Abbas's words. These are not the Prophet's words, but they are the words of Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma. And with regards to those, that we're trying our best to simplify it. But for those who want to know what's meant by mawquf, marfu', please go back to the several playlists that we have devoted to simplifying and making easy ilm al-hadith and mustalah al-hadith for the English-speaking person and for the layman 9 to 5 Muslim. And what's the difference between marfu' and mawquf? What's the difference between marfu' and mawquf? And what's meant by wahima or akhta'a wa sawab kada? Khairan, inshallah. This hadith, like the previous narration, pertains to the issue of ishtirat as-sawm lil-i'tikaf. Do you have to be fasting when making i'tikaf? Or can a person make i'tikaf any time of the year without fasting? That hadith is going to be used as a proof against those who say that you have to be fasting to make i'tikaf, and that there's no i'tikaf without fasting, like we read yesterday in the narration of Aisha radiyallahu ta'ala anha. So there's an argument here. The ulama of Islam, they differ on that issue with regards to it being in condition or not. Sanani rahimahullah, he says about the last narration, the narration of Aisha, he says, وَهَذَا الْحَدِيثُ الْمَوْقُوفُ دَالٌ عَلَى اشْتِرَاطِهِ وفيه أحاديث منها في نفي شرطيته ومنها في إثباتها، والكل لا ينتهض حجة إلا أن الاعتكاف عرف من فعله صلى الله عليه وسلم ولم يعتكف إلا صائما، واعتكافه في العشر الأول من شوال الظاهر أنه صامها، ولا يعتكف إلا من ثاني شوال لأن يوم العيد يوم شغله بالصلاة والخطبة والخروج إلى الجبانة، إلا أنه لا يقوم بمجرد الفعل حجة على الشرطية. وأما اشتراط المسجد فالأكثر على شرطه إلا أن بعض العلماء أو عن بعض العلماء، والمراد من كونه جامعا أن تقام فيه الصلوات، وإلى هذا ذهب أحمد وأبو حنيفة. وقال الجمهور يجوز في كل مسجد إلا لمن تلزمه الجمعة فاستحب له الشافعي الجامع. وفيه مثل ما في الصوم من أنه صلى الله عليه وسلم لم يعتكف إلا في مسجده وهو مسجد جامع. ومن أحاديث الدالة على عدم شرطية الصيام قوله فذكره. طيب. So the concept of what are the conditions of i'tikaf? Number one, do you have to fast to make i'tikaf? Number two, do you have to be in a jami' mosque, which has one or two interpretations? Number one, a masjid in which the 5 prayers are made, or a masjid in which Jumu'ah is conducted and held. They differ on that. Can I make i'tikaf in the musalla in which there are no 5 daily prayers? Can I make i'tikaf in a smaller masjid in which there are 5 prayers, but the Jumu'ah is in the bigger mosque down the road? Can I make i'tikaf when I'm not fasting? These are all things of which the people of knowledge, they differ. And it's very important to understand the valid and correct i'tikaf. The valid and the correct i'tikaf. Khairan, inshallah. So Sanani rahimahullah, he mentions all of these different arguments here. And the safest thing to do for the layman Muslim is to make i'tikaf in a masjid in which you have 5 congregational prayers, and to make i'tikaf in a masjid in which there's Jumu'ah, and to make i'tikaf whilst fasting. That's the safest and most precautionary thing to do. And alhamdulillah, most masjids in the United States, United Kingdom, Canada, is 5 daily prayers. And most masjids, wallahu alam, they have the Jumu'ah in those masjids. I don't understand this, but that is an actual valid issue among the people of knowledge with regards to the conditions of i'tikaf. Next narration. وعن ابن عمر رضي الله عنهما أن رجالا من أصحاب النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أروا ليلة القدر في المنام في السبع الأواخر فقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أرى رؤياكم قد تباطأت في السبع الأواخر فمن كان متحريها فليتحرها في السبع الأواخر متفق عليه. Abdullah ibn Umar narrated رضي الله عنهما that there were some companions of the Prophet عليه الصلاة والسلام who saw in a dream that the Laylatul Qadr was during the last 7 nights. During the last 7 nights. The Messenger of Allah ﷺ said to them, I've seen that you all have the same dream, similar dreams. Your dreams are agreeing with each other. Your dreams are in harmony. I see that you are dreaming about the same thing, that it's all during the last 7 nights. He says, so whoever wants to search for Laylatul Qadr, then he should search for it during the what? Last 7. It doesn't say 10. It says last what? Last 7. And this hadith is agreed upon by Al-Bukhari and by Imam Muslim. It is agreed upon by Al-Bukhari and by Imam Muslim. Moving forward, Sanani rahimahullah ta'ala, he says regarding this hadith, وأخرج مسلم من حديث ابن عمر مرفوعا التمسوها في العشر الأواخر فإن ضعف أحد أو عجز فلا يغلبن على السبع البواقي. وأخرج أحمد أنه رأى رجل أن ليلة القدر ليلة 27 أو كذا فقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم التمسوها في العشر البواقي في الوتر منها. وروى أحمد من حديث علي مرفوعا إن غلبتم فلا تغلبوا على السبع البواقي. وجمع بين الروايات بأن العشر للاحتياط منها وكذلك السبع والتسع لأن ذلك هو المظنة أو لأن ذلك هو المظنة وهو أقصى ما يظن فيه الإدراك. وفي الحديث دليل على عظم شأن الرؤيا وجواز الاستناد إليها في الأمور الوجودية بالشرط أن لا تخالف القواعد الشرعية. Sanani rahimahullah, he says regarding this hadith, there's another hadith in Sahih Muslim reported by Ibn Umar as well, that the Messenger of Allah said, marfu'an, the Prophet he said, search for Laylatul Qadr during the last 10. Search for Laylatul Qadr during the last 10. If you don't have the strength and the vigor to do it for all 10, then at least the last 7. At least the last what? At least the last 7. Imam Ahmad has collected a hadith that states, once a man saw that Laylatul Qadr was on the 27th night. And the Prophet ﷺ, he says, search for it during the last 10. Fil witri minha. Especially the odd nights. Especially the odd nights. There's another hadith that Imam Ahmad has collected, reported by Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu, that the Prophet ﷺ said, if you don't have the ability to do the last, he says, in ghulibtum, if you can't do all of the last 10, then at least the last 7. At least the last 7. طيب. So how do we harmonize between these different versions and these different reports? When the Prophet ﷺ said the last 10, then ask for precaution. Cover yourself. I.e., last 7 is what? Stronger probability. A stronger what? Probability. But everyone may not have the ability, or could be in one of the nights before the last 7, so make sure you cover yourself. Make sure you what? Make sure you cover yourself. Give yourself insurance to catch that night. Bi-idhnillahi ta'ala. Moving forward. So we have 10 for precaution, then we have 7, then we have 9. And that's all limadhinna. And for you to have the opportunity and a chance to catch it. Inshallah it's this night. Inshallah it's that night. But Allahu Alam, what night it may be on. And that is to cover all ground. To cover all ground. It could be the 23rd night, 21st night, 24th night, 28th night, 29th night. You make sure that you do what? You make ihtiyat, you make precaution to cover all ground. He then says here, this hadith also shows the tremendous status of dreams in al-Islam. The tremendous status of a dream. As we've explained, I call it many lessons. The importance of dreams. Having a dream, seeing a dream is of tremendous importance. And it's not just a Sufi thing. It's not just some type of weird, mystical, flying carpet thing. As many immature, amateuristic people think, claim and quote the Salaf al-Salih. Dreams is from the deen. A dream is from the deen. And in Sahih Bukhari, there's a chapter of what? Dream interpretation. Sahih Muslim, all of the books of hadith, they have ta'bir. Surah Yusuf is about nothing more than what? The dream interpretation and its power and its impact. Everyone understand this? The seriousness of a dream. Okay? So dreams are important in the deen. So that's first and foremost. Number 2, he says, وَجَوَازُ الْإِسْتِنَادِ إِلَيْهَا فِي الْأُمُورِ الْوُجُودِيَّةِ. And the permissibility of relying upon dreams for things that are present, things in the daily life, as long as it doesn't go against the qawa'id of the sharia, the principles of the deen. We are supposed to go on a trip. And then the morning of the trip, I had a very horrible dream that this happened and that happened. I canceled my flight. You can't necessarily say that's superstitious. I had a dream. Allah showed me a very vivid dream that something very terrible happened on the airplane. I don't want to get on the airplane anymore. Or I'm having a doubt about should I get on the flight, should I go or not? And I had a dream about it. And it was a positive dream that was clear and vivid. Clear and vivid. Not a mixed dream. Not a dream because I ate hamburgers late at night before I went to sleep. A clear and vivid dream. Bi-idhnillahi ta'ala, I'll do what? I'll do it. As long as it doesn't go against the what? The principles of the sharia. It's an extremely important speech here. And we've spoken this many times before with regards to the status of the dream, the importance of the dream, and the proper do's and don'ts of understanding, interpreting, and acting upon a what? A dream. Everyone understand this? Along with the context clues of what's actually happening in the real world. Everyone understand this? Most importantly, the person who sees the dream, who is he? A truthful person or someone who lies? Someone who eats from the halal or eats from the haram? Someone who does impermissible, illegal, illicit acts, or someone who's righteous? There's a difference between those people who have those what? Those dreams. Khairan inshallah. Moving forward. وعن معاوية بن أبي سفيان رضي الله عنه عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أنه قال في ليلة القدر ليلة 27 رواه أبو داود والراجح وقفه وقد اختلف في تعيينها على 40 قولا أورتها في فتح الباري. The next narration is reported by Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan, Allah will be well pleased with him. The Prophet ﷺ, he said regarding Laylatul Qadr, it's the 27th night. He says it's the 27th night. This hadith is collected by Imam Abu Dawood, and this version of the hadith is not authentic. The correct version of this hadith is that it's from the statement of Muawiyah, and not the Prophet ﷺ, just like the previous narration, or not the one, the Ibn Abbas's narration, before Ibn Umar's narration, is that they're different students of Muawiyah radiallahu anhu, and different students of his students, etc., and they differed. And one of them, or two of them, some of them said the Prophet said it. But the strong, prominent students never said that. They said, no, that's what Muawiyah said. And it's not marfu'. It's not attributed to the Prophet. Instead, it's only attributed to Muawiyah radiallahu anhu. So this hadith is not authentic. The Prophet didn't say this. طيب. He says here, Ibn Hajar rahimahullah, he says, and the scholars, they differ on when Laylatul Qadr is, with over 40 opinions. 40 views they have. They have 40 views on when what? Laylatul Qadr is. And I've mentioned these 40 views in my book, what? Fath al-Bari, which is the sharh of Sahih al-Bukhari. Everyone understand this? So, just based off of this one narration, one says that it isn't scientific to say that Laylatul Qadr is the 27th night. It's not muharrar. It's not an ilmi statement to put it on a prayer schedule and to make your fundraisers and your main lectures everything on the 27th. That's not correct. Everyone understand this? We have the last 10. We have the last 7. Let alone is Laylatul Qadr, or does Laylatul Qadr quote unquote bounce around? Is it flexible with regards to the entire month of Ramadan? Everyone understand this? So there are over 40 views of the ulama of Islam when Laylatul Qadr is most likely to be, or when it actually is. And only Allah truly what? Knows. Everyone understand this? Tayyib. Nobody? Tayyib. When we have the concept of Allah says, Inna anzalnahu fi Laylatul Qadr. وما أدراك ليلة القدر خير من ألف شهر. Finish. تنازل الملائكة من كل يوم سلام. Then that word here, a very interesting fact, some researchers have said that's the 27th word of the surah. The word that says here, it is. Very interesting. Everyone understand this? If you count the words, they say that's the what? This 27th word in the surah. Very interesting. Allahu A'lam. Amen. This Quran what? إنه is a Kitab Kareem. Quran Azim. Majid is a powerful book. Everyone understand this? Amen. To say that it is the 27th, 100%, what is it based off of? To say that it's likely to be on the 27th, one thing. Likely to be in the last 10, likely to be in the last 7, likely to be in the last 9, likely to be. Everyone understand this? Moving forward. صنعان رحمه الله says ولا حاجة إلى سردها لأن منها ما ليس في تعيينها في القول بأنها رفعت والقول بإمكانها من أصلها فهذه عدها المصنف من 40 وفيها أقوال أخرى لا دليل عليها وأظهر الأقوال أنها في السبع الأواخر. Listen to this speech now. Sanani Rahimahullah, he says, there is no need in mentioning these 40 views. There's no need in mentioning them and quoting them over and over. There's no need to. And that's because some of those 40 views don't even pertain to when is the actual night. Some of those 40 views don't discuss when the night actually is, the ta'yin. Such as the view of those who say that Laylatul Qadr has been what? Rufi'at, removed. That's one view, that's one opinion, that is no longer. And that was during the time of the Prophet, it's no longer. You know what I'm saying? You with me, fast. You know, he's like, empty your cup, shit. Get rid of what you think you know. Stay with me. That's one view. Another view, he says, and then there are those who say that there is no Laylatul Qadr, period. So those two views, they don't even need to be a part of the what? The 40. And you should only deal with the views that deal with when it actually what? Is. And this goes to show us, as we've quoted many times, called it, how the scholars of Islam criticize each other with science, with respect. And they didn't just blindly take and follow everything. They didn't just blindly take and follow what? Every single thing. Everyone understand this? Moving forward. He says, and there are many, many other views from among the 40 which have no proof whatsoever. Have no proof whatsoever. So this goes to show us every opinion or statement or fatwa or view that's said doesn't mean that it's what? Strong and valid. Just because a scholar says it. And it doesn't mean that the one who comes later on claims to be more knowledgeable than the one who preceded him. You know what I'm saying this? Moving forward, he says, and the strongest of those views is that it's during the last 7. That's the strongest of the views. That it's during the what? That it's one of those days of the what? Of the last 7. Of the what? Of the last 7. That's Sanani rahimahullah. That is his opinion. طيب وقال المصنف في فتح الباري بعد سرد الأقوال وأرجحها كلها أنها في الوتر العشر الأواخر أو في الوتر العشر الأواخر وأنها تنتقل كما يفهم من حديث هذا الباب. ورجاها أوتار الوتر عند الشافعية 21 و23 على ما في حديثي أبي سعيد وعبد الله بن أنيس. ورجاها من الجمهور ليلة 27. He says that Ibn Hajar, rahimahullah, Hafiz Ibn Hajar, he says, and the strongest of those views to me, Ibn Hajar, he says, is that Laylatul Qadr is on one of the odd of the last 10. The odd last 10. It's one of those. So that, what's the difference between what he said and what Sanani just said? Sanani said the last 7. Ibn Hajar said the odd of the last 10. What's the difference between that? What would be the last 7? 23rd night or 24th night? What's the night?
23rd.
23rd or 24th? How many nights are there in Ramadan? Can there be more nights than days? No. Equal amount of nights and days? Right. So the last 7 nights will be what? 23rd, 24th, 25th, 26th, 27th, 28th, 29th. The 30th night is what? Huh? What's the 30th night of Ramadan? There is no 30th night, because the night comes what? Before. Alright? And Ibn Hajar, rahimahullah, he says the odd of the last 10, which will be the what? 21st, 3rd, 5th, 7th, 29th. Could be possibly the last night of Ramadan. Everybody turn this? Everybody understand something? Everybody there? Moving forward. That's the first part of his reservation, his opinion. The second part, the comma, he says, وَأَنَّهَا تَنْتَقِلُ, and that it does not remain the same. That it switches. So one year it's the 23rd, another year it's the 21st. A third year could be the 25th, 27th, 29th. It tentacles, it bounces, it moves, it fluctuates. Everybody clear on this? That's Ibn Hajar, rahimahullah ta'ala, that's what he said. Everybody clear this or not? Everybody understands? Moving forward. He says, وَجَهَا أَوْتَارُ الْوِتْرِ. He goes on to say that most of the scholars will view that it is the 27th. Most of the now the view that it's the what? The 27th. What are they basing that upon? That hadith, the hadith of Muawiyah, or are they basing it upon something else? Everybody clear this or not? Right. So this, we may ask the question, why don't we know when Laylatul Qadr is? Why can we not just know when it is? Why do we have to guess and have this confusion, so on and so forth? What's the wisdom behind this?
To keep us searching.
To keep us searching, and to keep us from being complacent, and for us to be hungry for Allah's mercy, and not to just declare what it is and count on it, like the people do today. Watch how proud the night becomes on the 27th night. And then after the 27th night, it goes back to what? After the itikaf Ramadan is over, watch how empty the masjid is. Most of you sitting right here, don't come to the classes. It's reality. Don't come to the Fajr. Don't come to the Isha. That's reality. It's going to become empty and abandoned again. So we have to get out of this practice of only knowing the masjid, only knowing the carpet when it's what? Ramadan. We have to get out of that. All of us do. Moving forward. Next narration, we're on the, inshallah, moving up to finishing the chapter بإذن tonight. ولله الحمد. وعن عائشة رضي الله عنها أنها قالت قلت يا رسول الله أرأيت إن علمت أي ليلة القدر ما أقول فيها قال قل لي اللهم إنك عفو تحب العفو فاعف عني. رواه الخمسة وغير أبي داود صححه الترمذي والحاكم. Aisha رضي الله عنها said, O Messenger of Allah, what if I knew when Laylatul Qadr is? What if I know when it is? What should I say? What invocation should I make? What supplication should I say? He says, you should say, Allahumma, O Allah, innaka afuun. Indeed, you are oft forgiving. You are oft pardoning. Fa'fu anni. Pardon me. Forgive me. Overlook my mistakes and my shortcomings. This hadith has been collected by the 5, besides Abu Dawud, meaning Ahmed, Tirmidhi, Nasa'i, Ibn Majah. And who else? Besides Bukhari Muslim or Bukhari Muslim too?
Bukhari Muslim too.
كيف يا أخي؟ رواه الخمسة collected by the five except for Abu Dawud. Number one is Ahmed.
Ahmad in the 5.
He's not in the five.
He's in the 6. He's not in the 6.
Allahu Akbar. Do you agree with that, Khalid? What do you think? Hanan Aslam. من الخمسة؟
بمعنى أبو داود
باختصار أصحاب السنة أربعة.
نعم
بعدين
أحمد بن حنبل
أوه خمسة لا it's not Bukhari Muslim.
نعم
No, if it was Bukhari Muslim Ahmed in the four we say رواه الجماعة or سبعة مثلا right? خلينا نشوف moving forward. This hadith has been collected by those ulama and the Tirmidhi and the Hakim declared it to be authentic. طيب قيل علامتها أن المطلع عليها يرى كل شيء ساجدا وقيل يرى الأنوار في كل مكان ساطعة حتى في المواضع المظلمة وقيل يسمع سلاما أو خطابا من الملائكة وقيل علامة استجابة دعاء من وقعت له وقال الطبري ذلك غير لازم فإن قد تحصل ولا يرى شيء ولا يسمع. Now, how do we know when Laylatul Qadr is? With regards to signs. Are there signs behind when Laylatul Qadr is? We've discussed the date. We've discussed the dates. But are there signs when it rains, when it's cool outside, when the sky is clear? Are there signs that Allah has given us with regards to when Laylatul Qadr is? He mentioned some of these signs for some of the ulama say. You see the stars, it's clear outside, you make dua and it happens to you. Some even say that you hear salam from the malaika. Allahu Akbar. Some say that you what? Salamun hiya hatta matla'il al-fajr, ya akhi. That's what the Quran says. Salamun hiya hatta matla'il al-fajr. Hatta al-fajr comes is what? Salam. Everyone saying this? Is it impossible for Allah to allow you to hear something? Or are we restricting Allah's what? Ability to do something? We determine what Allah can and cannot do. I will say what you do too. Everyone understand this? These are different views here. Moving forward. Al-Tabari rahimahullah, he says, well that he says that is very last. He says that's not a condition. It can be Laylatul Qadr and a person may not see no signs. Allahu Alam. It may be Laylatul Qadr with those signs and then what? Maybe not. You don't depend upon them. But at the same time you don't totally what? Ignore and neglect them. Balance. Moving forward. واختلف العلماء هل يقع الثواب المرتب لمن اتفق أن وافقها ولم يظهر له شيء أو يتوقف ذلك على كشفها. ذهب إلى الأول الطبري وابن العربي وآخر وإلى الثاني ذهب الأكثرون ويدل ما وقع عن مسلم من حديث ابن هريرة بلفظ من يقوم ليلة القدر فيوافقها. قال النووي أي يعلم أنها ليلة القدر واحتمل أن المراد يوافقها في نفس الأمر وإن لم يعلم هو ذلك ورجح هذا المصنف وقال ولا أنكر حصول ثواب الجزيل من قام ابتغاء ليلة القدر وإن لم يوافقها وإنما ننكرهم في حصول الثواب المعين الموعود به وهو مغفرة ما تقدم من ذنبه. Now, with regards to Laylatul Qadr, do you get the full reward even if you don't know when it is? And you don't think that that's the night? Do you have to think that that's the specific night to get the full reward? That's an issue. Moving forward. I'm not going to get into that right now. The last hadith of the chapter, the author rahimahullah says, وعن أبي سعيد الخدري رضي الله عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم لا تشد الرحال إلا إلى 3 مساجد المسجد الحرام ومسجد هذا والمسجد الأقصى متفق عليه. And beware of saying masjid. Many people say this and they don't even realize this. When you speak English and you're in Arabic, oftentimes it's difficult to say the word masjid. The sin and the jeen becomes a tongue twister. And if you think about it, say the word. You said masjid, you just said it. Right, call it? You might recite Surah Al-Baqarah, you may say what? Al-Masjid al-Haram. And I've heard people recite and leave the salat saying that. Everyone understand this? You don't even realize that you're saying it. Say it, go ahead. Say masjid. What'd you say? He said it with sheen, right? Huh? Then this is not tajweed stuff, Khalid. This is different. We can agree on this.
You got it.
Okay, clear? This is not how I'm fighting people making takfir on them for seeing and assault. Huh? Clear? Making tabdid. Saying someone doesn't know tajweed if they haven't what? Sat with you. and your shit in New York City. Right, now, moving forward, say the word masjid, Jareed.
Masjid.
It's natural. Everyone understand this? But in actuality, it's what?
Masjid.
It takes effort now. Masjid. If you think about it, it's not that simple. Say it.
Masjid.
It's unnatural. You get it? So you have to be mindful of this. I was in Yemen once, and I was in the library in the basement in Masjid al-Shafi'i. And I was talking to the librarian there. I was reading some books, doing some research. He started talking to me, and he asked me a question. I said something with the word masjid. He said, say it again. I said, what? You know, in Arabic, masjid. He said, masjid, and not masjid. And then I stopped and I thought about it. I said, you know what? That's how we say it every single time. Even when we quote the text, we always say masjid. And from that day on, you realize that it's a mistake. But that's an easy mistake you can make. You understand this? And the proof is what? What we just said in the point. Right. So this narration says that Abu Sa'id al-Khudri radiallahu anhu reported, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "La tushaddu rihab." Do not travel. Do not go from one distance to another except to one of three masjids. One of three masjids. Masjids. La. He said mas. What? Masjid with a C. Your ears have lied to you. Huh? They haven't been trained well. Your ears are used to hearing what? Masjid. Brother Alvin said. Masjid. Right? Moving forward. He says, don't travel except to what? One of three what? Masajid. Masjid al-Haram, this masjid of mine, and Masjid al-Aqsa. And this hadith is agreed upon by Bukhari and by Imam Muslim. Why is this hadith in the chapter of I'tikaf?
Because there are some opinion that you can only make I'tikaf in those three.
There are some opinions, or an opinion that says you can only make I'tikaf in one of those three places. Anything else? Who else is smart or clever enough to think of something else?
They are the most sacred of masjids.
I'm sorry?
They are the most sacred of masjid and they get more blessings.
Well, why?
More blessings in praying.
More blessings. Right? What else? Think about something else. Something else.
When you do i'tikaf, you're staying in a masjid. So
How about a person traveling to make i'tikaf in a special mosque? Where this person died, where this righteous person is, or this blessed mosque, even though it's not one of the three. Possible or not? So the first reason why this hadith is in this chapter is with regards to those who may say that you can only make i'tikaf in one of those three. Or someone says, I'm going to travel to this state or this country to make i'tikaf in that mosque because it's a well-known mosque, it's a special mosque, so on and so forth. Everyone understand the difference? Everyone understand? And it's prohibited for a person to travel specifically for worship, except to one of those two places. As far as traveling for knowledge, traveling to visit a teacher, traveling to be with this type of group or these Muslims, that's one thing. But a person traveling for the spot and the place specifically, it can only be done for what? Those three. You cannot travel to this saint's grave, this wali's mashhad, this shrine. That's impermissible, that's prohibited in Islam. Why is that prohibited? Because Ibn Taymiyyah or Ibn Abdul Wahhab or the Saudi government. Because what? The Prophet of Islam said it. Extremely important for us to understand these things. It is prohibited for me to travel from New York City to South Africa, or Pakistan, or West Africa, or Yemen, or anywhere to visit a grave or a maqam of any of this one or that one. Not because of Ibn Abdul Wahhab, but because of who? Muhammad ibn Abdullah, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He said, don't do it. Now, what does the hadith mean? What does the interpretation of the hadith mean? No scholar understands it like that. Ibn Abdul Wahhab, he was a literalist, he was an extremist, he was the first one. You may say all of those things. You may what? You may say that. You may differ in interpretation, but you cannot speak down upon someone who's taken the what? The literal text. You may not agree with them. You may feel that there's a different interpretation, but you can't call them bad names and say that they're misguided. And they're following the two devil horns from Nedj and so on, and so you can't say that. You have to respect them in their position. What makes your figurative interpretation better than the literal interpretation? That was understood by Muslims for how many hundreds of years? And this is a critical mistake that many people make today. Those who call themselves Ash'aris, or Maturidis, or Habashis, or whatever name and title they give themselves. You can't say that about Allah. You can't say that about the Prophet. You can't say that the law has this. You can't say, you can't. That's evil. Why? Does not the Quran state that? Not Sahih Bukhari, Sahih Muslim, does it not state that? That's not what it means. Okay, say it. Maybe it doesn't mean that. But you can't say that I'm what? Following shaitan, and it's evil, and it's disrespectful, it's kufr, and it's wahhabi. You can't say that. You know what I'm saying? It's let alone the fact that that interpretation is the proper interpretation. And that's the correct way of understanding Islam. Outwardly and literally. Everyone understand this? But for argument's sake, every time the scholastic point here is that if someone comes to a debate and is calling you a name and giving you a title, and you have the clear text to support your argument, they have excluded themselves of being a respectable scholar. Because scholars don't abuse people. Everyone understand that? Scholars, they don't what? They don't abuse people. They don't call people names unjustly and incorrectly. They don't do it, period. Let alone what? Unjustly. Everyone understand this? So therefore, I'm sticking with the hadith that says don't travel except for one of these three mosques. Not because of Ibn Abdul Wahab, but because of the Prophet ﷺ. And for argument's sake, if Ibn Abdul Wahab said that it's impermissible in his book, and he based it off of the hadith in Bukhari Muslim, I follow Ibn Abdul Wahab in that. And that was something he said which was right and correct, and may Allah reward him therefore. Everyone understand this? But my aqidah in any means is based off of what Ibn Abdul Wahab said, and that's it. Everybody clear this or not? And you cannot abuse a person, speak down upon a person, make takfir upon a person for taking the text of the Quran and the Sunnah outwardly and literally. You can differ with them. You have your Imam and your Quran, Juwaini, and this one and that one who made the ta'weed. It doesn't really mean that. It really means this. It really doesn't mean that. That's fine. You can choose that. But you must respect the traditional, orthodox, what? Acceptance of the text. And if not, then you have excluded yourself from the realm of scholastics. You understand this? You're not speaking with knowledge, you're speaking with emotion and desire now. And you clearly have an agenda and propaganda that you wish to spread and push upon the people. Whatever name or title you give yourself. You understand this? Allah Azza wa Jalla, He surely knows best. This hadith, any issues with regards to this hadith, is a very, very long discussion. And there are many, many mistakes that people have made and fell into with regards to opposing this hadith. Traveling to a place to worship Allah. And the Messenger of Allah says only these three mosques, these three masajid. That's a very long discussion, and the places in which that hadith has been discussed are well known. Other than this, Allah knows best. Alhamdulillah, we have successfully finished the entire chapter of Kitab as-Siyam from Bulugh-Maram. May Allah accept it from you and accept it from us. And may Allah make it a proof and an argument for us for the day of judgment, and not a proof and an argument against us. What's important is review these hadiths, brothers and sisters. Review them, go over them, study them, memorize them, and go over the classes and the lessons with the explanation and read and study more, that we can solidify the knowledge and do not allow an entire chapter to just come and what? Go. And go. You know what I'm saying? So that's the purpose of us doing these things, not just giving these lectures or iman boosters, but actual tangible what? Ilm. And you have completed a section of a book.